Can Russia, China, Brazil, India, and South Africa defeat US dollar in the international market? Russia and China, the two big rival of the USA, they decided to put their power together to grow their economy by first sabotaging the US dollar. These BRICS countries want to cut and dominate the US dollar in the market around the world by putting their power together and start trading in yuan, which is Chinese currency, and Russia as the country which is under sanctions. It is increasingly impressing yuan.
Now the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have announced plans to develop a new currency. Their goal is to reduce reliance on the US dollar and other Western currencies as well, and protect themselves from international pressure. In fact, Brazil and China have already struck a deal to bypass the dollar when paying for trade goods, which is a major milestone in Beijing's long-term plans to establish its own currency, the yuan, as the dominant international currency.
Even before Russia invaded Ukraine, the Russian central bank tried to reduce the independency of Western currency. But NATO, with his alliance, they keep on imposing even more sanctions toward Russia. In the first call of this strategy, in 2022, foreign currency in Russian bank dropped at it below of 15%. And in the meantime, Russia turned to Russia for help, and they've been trading together, and they managed to make this yuan currency get even more value. Last year only, Russia and China, they trade for 190 billion US dollar in yuan currency. Well, Russia President Vladimir Putin is making efforts to convince other countries to trade with Chinese currency in order to get rid of the US dollar. In his meeting with the Chinese president more than 1 week ago, Putin says, "We support the use of Chinese yuan in payment between Russia and countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America." The Russian president also encouraged for this same method to be applied to the third part, such as BRICS and many more organizations, for them to have one same currency which will dominate the US dollar. The meeting between the two leaders, it was to cement that long-term relationship between Russia and China. And as we all know that China, they get to import such things as oil, gas, and coal from Russia. In return, Russia get also to import goods and machinery, such things as vehicles, shippings, and airstrikes from China. Yes, it is true that the US dollar, they have dominated in the international market with its reserves bank for so many decades. But recently, they have dropped to 60%. The EU, which was already being affected by British leaving the European Union, it has even dropped as well. And on the other side, we're having yuan, which has been increasing up by 2.8%. With all this being said, now the question to ask is to know, what is the future for the US dollar? What will be the future of the US dollar when so many countries, they are now getting to put their hands together in order for them to destroy the US dollar? This Ukraine and Russia things have really opened the eyes of many people out there, and they get to understand that there are some people who are not to be trustworthy. Recently, former President Thabo Mbeki revealed some of the secrets that many countries out there, they are busy planning in order for them to destroy the US dollar. As they had to ask him the question on how he think about what is happening in Ukraine between Russia and NATO. Here's what the former president had to say.
Many countries are saying, in order to avoid this consequence of the imposition of sanctions by the United States on the basis that you are using their currency, in order to avoid the consequences of sanctions that arise from that, let's walk away from the dollar. And hence there's a global discussion taking place about that, and some of it is bilateral. When Russia trades with China, there's no reason why they must trade US dollars to exchange. None. And so that even India is saying the same thing. So globally, there's a discussion that is taking place to say we must find alternative means of trading among ourselves. and not subject ourselves to the situation where there's one currency in the world, which becomes the global reserve currency, because it gives the country that is the issuer of the money, that's the United States, it gives it the power to impose its will on everybody because you are depending on the dollar.
These are the people who get to speak the same language as me and you. These are the same people who get to understand what we're thinking in our thoughts, because this conflict between Russia and Ukraine, it has really opened the eyes of everyone out there to get to understand what the Western they are up to and what they've been doing all this time. I'm going to demonstrate to you through our analysis to get to understand that what the former President Thabo Mbeki have just said in this piece of video that you watch, it is very important that we get to consider it, especially us as Africans. Guys, you know, former president, he says that when you get to see what is giving these people power, it is because they have or they are running the global currency as a reserve bank, which they get to control each and every country transactions, which they get to have an idea of what you have asked this money for or what you have done with this money, what have you bought with. They get to control each and everything. So therefore, since they're the dominant currency around the world, they're able to impose the sanctions against you because they know the life of your citizens depends on them, or should I say on the US dollar. And they get to do all this because they know that whatsoever they'll say against you, you have to bow, because otherwise you get stuck somewhere, because they know that they only a currency that do exist around the world. Guys, just to refresh your mind, Russia invade Ukraine. After 2 weeks, listen to me very well, after 2 weeks, they had already got sanctions by the USA with its alliance NATO countries. They impose sanctions on Russia. As Russia keep on insisting to go ahead and finish its mission, these same countries, when we're talking about these same countries, we see USA with its alliance. We get to see France, we get to see UK, we get to see Germany, we get to see, there's so many of them. They go ahead again to impose even more sanctions against Russia. Do you know why they were doing all this? Well, because they believed that Russia was going to be something, Russia was going to be nothing without having without having those sanctions being lifted. And now that they get to see Russia keep on surviving and they keep on adding more sanctions, at the same time, Russia keep on surviving. After some times, these same sanctions that they had put against Russia, it start having impact on them. For an example, when they put sanctions against Russia, Russia, in profit of his citizens, he prefer also to hold back whatsoever they were being supplying, such as petrol and gas, to the European countries and even other world countries that they are against Russians. They get to keep everything that they had, also things that they know that, okay, this is where we can also breathe. They refuse. And at the end of the day, what happened? We get to see that each and every government in our days around the world, if they're being condemned about something, maybe about unemployment, or maybe about different reasons that they might be facing in their countries, you find that they always give the reason to say that this Russia and the Ukraine problems, it has really affected us economically, especially in the whole world, all the countries are being affected. You know why they're saying that? Obviously, because whether we like it or not, Russia have demonstrated to the world that they're not just like any country that can go and bow in front of NATO. And they have tried by all means to make them also feel that, no, look, you can impose your sanctions against us, but we are not afraid. You're going to feel the same pain that you are trying to make us feel. Look at now where we are today. Europe, they are having serious problem there. Africa, we are having serious problem there. Almost the whole world, all just because of two countries. Which one is being used as a middle field for battle? And here, guys, we getting to survive the economically fight between USA, NATO, and Russia. That's what we are surviving right now. Forget about Ukraine. Ukraine is being used as a middle bit, should I say, a battlefield that these big countries have to go and fight through there. And now us, we have to pay the price. Whenever they sit in the United Nations, they want everyone to vote against Russia. They want to make Russia look like it's the bad enemy to the eyes of the world, and them, they're the good people. Forgetting that whatsoever they're trying to accuse Russia doing today, it's something that they have done before. They did it in Yemen. They did it in Afghanistan. They did it in Iraq, where they even go there, arrest the head of the state, bring him to their country, and kill him there. The history will never gonna change. And no one never answer about that, though some of the American politicians get to admit that whatsoever they did in Iraq was wrong. But until now, no one have that courage to go ahead and apologize to the victims of Iraq. No one have done so. Do you know why? Because they have that arrogancy, that thing of saying that, okay, we are who we are. We need to show the world who we are. The world need to be afraid of us. And the same strategy, they've been dying. They've been dying so hard, trying so hard to apply it to Russia, but they never had any opportunity until when Ukraine shows up as a sacrifice animal. And now they're busy using Ukraine in order for them to attack Russia. Putting the color, or should I say the painting of democracy. Oh, Russia have done this to Ukraine. Oh, Russia is not respecting this. Oh, Russia, that. So, come to think of it, your democracy is only applied when it comes to other people. When Russia get to do whatsoever they're doing in Ukraine, then you remember that democracy does exist. When it is your turn, democracy does not exist. Why is it like that? So you get to see that with all this being said, this is one of the reasons why Russia understood that no, what is giving these people power is because of their currency. It's because of their Google. It's because of their MasterCard. It's because of these big companies that you know, which is owned by Americans. And they succeed doing so by always stand on the ways of people or other companies, or should I say other countries, which are coming forward to invent something new. Like for you, for example, you today come up with something very beautiful that can entertain the world, or maybe can help the world to do better. These people, they'll come and look for you, they'll kill you. They'll kill you. How many Africans have tried to create, should I say, to invent a car, even aeroplane, even many beautiful things. And if you try to ask the ends of them, obviously they were eliminated before even the world get to discover what they have invented. All this because they want them to be the only one who have to do all these things. So things are getting to this point because Russia want to show them that, no, I'm not Iraq, I'm not Libya. What you guys have done there, you're not gonna come and do it here. Therefore, if you want us to play games, we're gonna play games. Isn't it today they're giving now the right to what the President Ramaphosa had said? Because I remember very well President Ramaphosa telling them that, no, look, there's no need for you to be attacking each other. The problem is that you need to sit down and talk. You need to sit down and talk. Because violence never brings anything good. Nothing good never come out of violence. But they never listened because they had their own interest. Europeans, since they've been having problem already with Russia all these years, because in their mind they think that Russia was gonna take all of them and associate them. But unfortunately, that never even happened. They decided to go and support NATO country ideas. Whenever they meet in the United Nations meetings, you get to see them voting in favor of Ukraine, regardless of what is happening. Recently, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, he came here in Africa. He visited Ghana, he visited the DRC, he visited Congo, Brazzaville, and about 4 countries that he did visit. They asked him questions about what is going on in Ukraine. And one of the popular questions that they asked him in all these African countries that he visited, they told him, what is so special about Ukraine that you guys, you almost forget the existence of other problems that the world is facing today. You all focus in what is going on in Ukraine. What is it that make Ukraine become so special country more than other countries? Because what is happening in Ukraine today, it happened more than 10 years ago in Syria. We never see anything such as the one you guys are doing in Ukraine. That solidarities that we get to see you guys doing in Ukraine, we never see it with people of Syria. You sabotage them. You never even vote anything in favor of it. You never talk about it in your media. Same thing happened in different places in the world. Iraq, Afghanistan. Same things is happening in Africa. Many countries in Africa. For example, DRC. They are facing also the same thing. Whatsoever is being denounced there, you never had the courage to speak loud about it. So what is making this Ukraine, Russia things become more special? You talk about it, you put the sanctions, yet you have the president of DRC who's been asking for sanctions against Paul Kagame for the killing of rebellions that were coming in DRC, killing people over there. Yet no one acknowledge about it. All of them, they pretend to be innocent. They keep quiet about it. So on one side, you open your eyes. On the other side, you close a blind eye. So those were the questions which they asked him. And you could see how Macron keep on failing. He could not even have a proper answer to all those questions. Not even a proper explanation of what has been going on. Guys, the same problem that we're talking about, where they get to give too much attention to what is happening in Ukraine. The FM, they had given more than 15 billion US dollar. Listen very well, 15 billion US dollar to Ukraine so that they can solve up their problems. Okay, fine. They deserve to have it. But what does the rule says? Because apparently it is for the first time get to give funds to a country which is in the war. According to them, they keep on saying that there's the war in Ukraine, isn't it? They don't acknowledge that there's an invasion of Russian troops in Ukraine. Instead, they say there's a war over there. Okay, fine. But in the rules, there is no place where it says that we can give funds or we can give money to countries which are in war. And one of the reasons why they can't give money to the countries which is already be in a war, it is because they don't want to encourage whatsoever is happening. Because the moment you give people money, people who are in need of money, you give them money, which means they're going to buy weapons, they're going to buy different things so that they can continue until they come out from that war as a victorious, isn't it? Now, this time, this rule is being broke. They broke it and they give the money, not even small money, a lot of money to the Ukrainian government. Now, the question again still to know, what is it that's so special that all these world organizations, NATO, IFM, EU, many organizations, why are them so interested in what is going on in Ukraine to the point of even starting breaking up their own laws? Because if that was the case, they should have done the same with Libya during the time of Muammar Gaddafi. If that was the case, they should have done the same with people of Syria. Until today, Syria is not built. If that was the case, there are so many countries that we can't even mention which need help. I can even call some of these countries, they have to go and beg by force. And even if you ask for this money, they'll keep on doing you jigga, to the point that you go and sit and relax and forget about it. But when it comes to Ukraine, that is politics with politicians for you. So with all these things being said, guys, you get to understand that people, they have get to understand what is going on. People, they have now a clear idea of what is going on. Some countries, we're talking about Asia, Africa, and Latin Americans, they get to understand that, no, look, down with US dollar, down. We are tired. Because see how they get to treat us and see how they get to treat other countries which are in their favors. So they get to understand that even whatsoever they're trying to pass in the United Nations conferences, it is something which has to go, which has to do with their benefit, something that have to benefit them. That's the proper word I wanted to say. I'm going to give you another very easy example. See, for an example, recently, the ICC, International Criminal Court, they launched an arrest warrant against Vladimir Putin, isn't it? And guess who was the first one to jump or to celebrate? The first country to welcome this declaration was America. USA, which is not even part, which is not even part of this ICC. They never signed anything to be part of this ICC for the obvious reasons. In our previous video, we spoke about it. Because if they have to sign this ICC, then some head of the state of America, they'll have to answer as well. They'll have to be arrested. So they did not want to sign for it because they want to protect their personalities. But when this ICC call for for Russia President Putin to be arrested, they were the first one. Like, yeah, they are celebrating. So you see, when all these things are happening in this way, many countries, they have understood that we don't need these people anymore. Many countries, they have understood that, no, look, it is about time we start coming up with a plan B. And that plan B, at first, it was just like a rumor. But right now, it is becoming more, even more reality, because many countries, they are coming forward. It all started with Russia and China trading in one currency, which is the yuan. Right now, India have joined them. Okay? Brazil have joined them as well. We're still waiting, obviously, in the few days to come. I believe that South Africa, we're going to join them as well. Because get to listen to Minister Naledi Pandor, the way she spoke about, or the way she was trying to answer to the international media on the pressure that they've been putting on South Africa to arrest Putin in his arriving here in South Africa. You get to understand that South Africa, we have reached to the point of saying forsake with USA and its alliance. Because when Minister Naledi Pandor says these words,
you would see, Minister, that there's a great deal of media interest in our meeting, because there are some who don't wish us to have relations with an old historical friend. We have made it clear that Russia is a friend, and we've had cooperative partnerships for many, many years, including partnerships as we combated the apartheid regime, which decimated our people and our country. And while we are friends with many all over the world, we cannot become sudden enemies at the demand of others.
and this is something that she just gave the message which everyone they were waiting for. Because this is where we get to see that, okay, South Africa, are them strong enough to stand against us, or are them that puppet that we can get to tell them what to do and they'll have to do it without complaining. And here comes Minister Naledi. She proved, she sent a loud message, and for that we are so grateful to her on the point of view that she gave on that part. So guys, you get to understand that there is no way these other countries, they are not going to support these new activities that Russia and China, they have started to trade together. So many people, many countries, they are going to join, so because this actually, it will even work in advantage of many countries which are under sanctions. For an example, look at India. India, they are not on sanctions, but they've been buying guns and the military equipment from Russia for so many years, since 2006. They have put a lot of money buying it over there, through there. And when they buy like that, they get the opportunity to avoid to get even more sanctions, because they are buying it through their relationship that the two countries have together. Now that this is happening, you know what does that mean? What about other countries which are facing sanctions, such as Iran, North Korea, many countries around the world that they've been either wrongly imposed sanctions against them. Because we all know these things of trading of USA dollars and everything, it's kind of like a giving them even more power to always impose their sanctions on everyone, to always threaten every countries with their sanctions. See what happening, what is happening in Uganda. The parliament votes a law that even if you don't like it, but since Uganda is a sovereign country, you need to find a proper way to negotiate with the country so that they can remove this law. You need to find a proper way to make them understand that, no, look, it's not a good idea for you to make this, to sign for this law. Angeke, that was not the case. Instead, they prefer to impose or to threaten them with sanctions, telling them that no, Google and MasterCard, they are in the position already. In case if Yoweri Museveni sign for this new law, then they'll have to face the economy crisis. What kind of habit is that? So obviously they're doing all this because there's not that other currency that get to fight them in the market. Now, if the world can have today yuan as the second biggest currency, even number one biggest currency in the world, I don't think all this nonsense we get to see, it will keep on existing. Isn't it? I don't think so. So the message is loud and clear. The countries are coming through. The president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, he keep on trying to convince other countries to join trading with Russia currency. And if that works, I'm afraid to say that tomorrow the USA, they will be here, and China and Russia, they'll be somewhere there. That's how I get to see things. So now the question to know is, will the USA have to sit and accept that to happen? Because there are two things involved at the moment. Now it is more open that China is with Russia. South Africa, we are with Russia. India, they are with Russia. Same as Brasilia. And many more countries. Never mind about what other countries they're trying to show in the United Nations, because they're still afraid of getting sanctions from these NATO countries. But deep down, everyone, they already know who are these people and what are their games. So, since now it is more open that the countries that I just mentioned, all of them, they are with Russia. Recently in the United Nations that the head of state attended, they threatened each and every country that supports Russia to receive sanctions. That's threatened. Those countries did not take it lightly. They get to think as well that, no, look, before it's too late for us, what about if we come up with an idea? So that when these sanctions start coming, we're not going to feel it. And that's how you get to see yuan currency taking place in the market now. Now that they have done this, if NATO, America with its alliance, if they're strong enough, let them go and sanction China. They must not beat around the bush. They must just go ahead and sanction China, India, Brazil, South Africa, and many other countries. Let them do so. I'm telling you, I can't wait for that day. Do you know what will happen? Because the day they do that, if they do it right now, by tomorrow morning, yuan is going to take all over the world. Because it's going to be the trade a currency that will dominate all the currencies. I'll tell you why. Because this money, it is a Chinese currency. And we all know that Chinese currency, They are dominating the world when it comes to the economy, especially in Africa. Out of 100% of things that you are having, even in your house, Chinese, they are having about 95%. I'm not lying. You can go and check behind your phone or your any item that you are having. You find made in China, made in China, made in China. So they have, like, they are selling, guys. They are selling. They are selling. So if USA and the NATO decide to put sanctions on China, that will be their dooms. And I believe that is what Russia wants to see as well. So we shall wait and see what will happen. I think our time is over. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video up to now. If this is your first time to be on our channel, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel, because we get to talk about serious matters that is trending around the world, whether it is inside the country. And we really do appreciate your presence here. Drop us also your comment down below. Tell us what you think. And to those who always watch us time to time, I just want to take this moment to say thank you so much for your love and support. Before you leave this video, make sure that you give us your thumbs up. We'll really do appreciate. And to all our members, thank you so much for your support. We really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything you've been doing for us. If you want also to become member of this channel, well, just follow the link, I mean the USA icon that you get to see on the bottom of our screen. Click on it, then it's gonna give you different options. Then you'll see which membership that suits you to be part of us. And thank you so much for those who are busy doing so. My name is Dobsi Nyembe, and I'm here to keep you informed and entertain you at the same time with different topics that is trending around the world, where we get to give our point of view, our analytics, and our commentary. So we really do appreciate having you today. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.